Reshanda, you obviously haven't played her in 4 years or so, but what kind of challenges does Imani present for you tomorrow and just for the whole team?
Just her height, she's definitely a presence in the paint, but at the end of the day, it's not really about me and what challenge she's caused. It's about how can my team. She's definitely a post presence, and she's a really great player and a great defender, as well as an offensive player. So.
Mike Vernon, San Francisco Chronicle. Brittany is someone that likes to get to the basket, kind of create things that way. What challenges does it present having someone so tall in there going against someone so tall?
I mean, it's gonna. I think that's kind of where we have to kind of knock down shots from the outside, but also continue to attack and get to the rim. Kind of don't change what we do, but find different ways to make things happen, and just knock down shots from the outside.
How important is it that you guys have basketball smarts, so to speak, when it comes to playing someone so much taller than you?
I think that our league, especially in the Pac-12, have prepared us going against Ruth Hamlin, someone who's a really talented post player. We don't need to stop what we do. Attack the basket. That's what we do. Get out in transition. Rebound the ball. Box out. I think it's the small things that are going to lead to the big things.
Yeah, along those lines, the Texas coach said, there's going to be so much about this matchup in the paint between Reshanda and Imani, but the supporting cast could really be the difference in this game. What's your take on that, and maybe what some of the young players from your team gained, playing so well last night?
Yeah, well, I think this is a team sport, and I think, 5 people on the court at once, and kind of like I said, going into the Wichita State game, it's the team that's most dialed in, the team that's most focused, the team that executes the best will have an advantage in this game. And I think, the 5 players that are on the court have prepared themselves all season for this moment, and this is just another challenge that's in our way.
Reshanda, I looked up the stats, and Ruth had really good stats this year and was one of the top players in the Pac-12. How different or how alike are their game? What's her game compared to Imani? How are they different?
They're very similar in the same way that they're both pretty smart basketball players. They both can play great defense. But one of the things I try to focus on is not to let their height take me out of the game.
Brittany, their coach was in here saying that she thought you guys looked like the most dialed-in team, the team that really understood, what kind of urgency you need. How have you guys prepared your other players to understand what's on the line here?
Yeah, I think just communicating with them, remaining to build confidence in them, especially our freshmen who haven't even been here before, and our sophomores who just got a taste of it last year. Just, nothing comes easy. And I think that we know that, we understand that, and I think in practice and our coaches have done a wonderful job in preparing us for what's coming. So I just think just remain confident and remain who we are and not trying to change nothing about us.
Reshanda, back to the poetry thing. I'm a little curious now. When did you hear Imani do poetry, and what do you remember about that?
Well, I follow her on social media, so like we're Facebook friends.
Okay.
And I also caught the ESPN feature that they did on her, her spoken word, and it talked a lot about her past and stuff.
Oh, she never read your poem?
No, not personally.
The team really is known for high pressure defense, but late in the year it seemed you kind of wore down a little bit in the second half on defense, but last night that effort was there throughout the game. What do you see about your ability to continue to pressure throughout the game coming into tomorrow?
Yeah, I think in that game we kind of had a sense of urgency. We think something that we talked beforehand, 40 minutes. The game is only 40 minutes, and that's what we have to go into the next round. We have to win that 40 minutes to get another 40 minutes, and I think that has been the emphasis from our players to our coaches is win this 40 minutes. How bad do you want it in this 40 minutes to get to that next 40 minutes?
Reshanda and Brittany, this is officially going to be your last game at Haas Pavilion. No more, maybe we'll make tournament, get to host, no more, maybe we'll make the second round and get to play again. I mean, I know you guys are focused on the matchup and all that, but any extra emotions knowing this is officially it for you guys here after such decorated careers?
No really extra emotions. I don't want to get too overly like, but I think Haas has been great for my past 4 years, and the fan support, the family support, the community support has just been great. And you know, I wouldn't want to be in no other place than playing here in my last 4 years. So I'm just blessed, thankful, you know, for this opportunity that my coaches have presented me, my teammates, and just, you know. But I know, not trying to think too much about my last game, more so trying to win this next 40 minutes so I can get to the next round.
Yeah, to feed off of her, like, our experience here at Cal, like, we wouldn't want to leave no other way. Like, we got basically everything we asked for over the past 4 years.
I know I asked you last night, Brittany, but how many people did you end up having? 50, 100?
Maybe around 50 to 60 people. Hopefully, you know, a lot more come out Sunday.
50 that are actually related and 200 more that say they're related.
Anything further for the student athletes? All right, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
And at this time, we'll take questions for Coach.
Lindsay, last night you were kind of talking about you're not sure what the plan was going to be to simulate Monty in practice. Do you have a plan now? Do you know what you're going to do, at least for today?
I mean, most of it is mental. Like I mentioned, I think the players have really learned to learn from film. So that's the first thing. You know, we show film, we show clips of how people score against her and ways that aren't so good, you know, to try to score. So that's first and foremost, and that's normal. That's a 1 day in between prep day. You don't do a ton in between in the Pac-12 when you have a Friday, Sunday. Second thing is, I should have brought it up here, but we do have those like things that add length. So, you know, Jeff will be up there with those practice equipment things that add a little length. You know, I mentioned yesterday, you're not allowed to use practice players in the NCAA tournament, but all year we've used a 6'7" practice guy to try to prepare Reshanda for, you know, the teams we might face, the double teams. You know, I try to prepare for what's coming next in the WNBA. So it's not something that she's unaccustomed to. It's just you have to give them small reminders before games about what you know, I try to give them the answers before the exam. That's what scouting is. Give them a little help getting ready for what they're going to face. And I think, you know, like we mentioned, we have a player in our conference, you know, quite similar in size, and so we'll reference that and do the best that we can.
Lindsay, what's it mean to hear Karen say Cal is locked in and they know that there's a sense of urgency and doing everything right?
Yeah, it's incredibly flattering. You know, our players are in the moment, and I think it's my job to help them stay in the moment and sometimes give them perspective. Like I sometimes, you know, read things if it's helpful to them from the outside, and sometimes I don't. And today I did spend some time, you know, telling them that part of the narrative of that game was our balance and how ready we looked and how confident, because I think that is something we work towards, and I want them to feel good about we have 5 threats on the floor and we are locked in, and sometimes hearing the good stuff makes them even buy into it more. So that 40 minutes is over. We don't get any prizes for that other than getting to play in the second game, but to hear, you know, a perception that we have 5 players on the floor and 5 players on the bench that are locked in, and that we're getting contributions from everyone, that's what we've worked to try to be, and we want to continue that.
Coach, I'm going to ask 2 questions because one I think will be really short. I don't understand the NCAA's stance on why men can't practice during the NCAA tournament. I don't see so.
So I think the answer with that would be, this is an NCAA tournament, so we don't have any advantages for being at home other than the fact that we get to be at home. So if male practice players can't travel with Texas or can't travel with Western Kentucky or Wichita State, we shouldn't be able to use ours in an NCAA sanctioned practice. So starting Thursday, which was the day before the game, we had the same rules as everybody else. So they don't want to give you an advantage being at home that it's like a regular practice, if that makes sense. We can use males any other time during the year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Other question, Ruth Hamlin, 6'8", I was reading about her, she's a legit player. In what ways does she remind you of Imani, or in what ways is she different?
Yeah, and obviously the sort of biggest reminder similarity is the size. And again, so, you know, for someone like Reshanda and the rest of our players, and having played against someone where you just don't get the same easy stuff that you get against other people is helpful. It's helpful for me in terms of, you know, the offensive schemes you use to maybe try to get better looks. I would say the biggest difference is that they just play in a different system. So, you know, Scott at Oregon State does a really good job of kind of utilizing the inside presence with three-point shooting. That's the Oregon State thing, the balance, the inside out, whereas I think Imani's part of more of an up-tempo attack that Texas uses. I think Karen does a great job of blending the athletes she has around Imani and making, you know, Imani part of an up-tempo system. And, you know, we're just talking about Imani, it's a two-headed monster with Kelsey as well, who, you know, has started, you know, majority of the season and is also a presence. So I think the main similarity is that you're just, in women's basketball, not used to playing someone 6'7" who just bothers people in the paint. And then, you know, they're obviously two different players and two different systems in some ways too.
Lindsay, what, you know, Imani referenced Reshanda's sweet side, but very aggressive even back in the day in LA. Could you give us a couple examples of her sweet side?
Yeah, I mean, we call Reshanda beast mode. We've said before that, you know, if there's someone you want in your foxhole of life, it's Reshanda Gray. She's so tough on the court. She's relentless, but she's also a 6'3", loving, soft young woman who would give you the shirt off of her back. She's come from a very difficult background, and yet her first thought is, what can I do for my community? What can I do for you? She's just a loving, sweet soul, but not someone you want to be up against on the basketball court, or not someone I want on my side if there's some type of battle.
Anything further for Coach? All right, Lindsay, thank you very much. Good
Thank
luck
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.